Morning, good morning. It is game time. Tomorrow we are hosting a surprise 50th anniversary for my in-laws, and I am doing most of the cooking. On the menu is pozole, which is like a Mexican stew with hominy. Um, I'm doing 2 trays of chilaquiles, 1 tray of chorizo and papa, a big batch of restaurant style salsa, which is my dad's famous recipe. It's so delicious. It's like American style salsa that when you go to a Mexican restaurant and you have chips and salsa on the table, it's pretty much kind of like that. What else? What else? I have my list of like a million things to do today, so I need to get started now. I'm not going to go step by step with recipes because that's not how I cook. I'm doing things at once. Right now, I'm going to get the rice done. I'm going to make 1 tray worth of rice. I'm going to get that done today, reheat it in the morning. I already shredded up my rotisserie chickens for the chilaquiles. I'm going to do the salsa now, and I'm also going to start making the red sauce that's going to go into the pozole. So first things first, I have a big pot of water boiling, so that water will be ready to just put into the rice. I'm going to start toasting up the rice, and I'm going to start blending up the chilies and the jalapenos for the salsa. Let's go. I need tomato sauce for my rice as well as the salsa, so I am going to start doing that. I rarely buy garlic, but today we are working smarter, not harder. When you're hosting, it's all about making things easy for yourself. So I already have about 2 tablespoons of garlic in here. This tomato puree already looks pretty pureed, but I'm just going to blend it up a little bit, and then I'm going to start adding it to the salsa bowl. That's good. I'm going to do a mix of chunky tomato and this puree. And I'm going to reserve some for the rice. A little more than half a can for the rice. And this will go in here. Those tomato chunks were a little bit too chunk for me, so I'm just going to lightly pulse these 2 cans. Chunky tomato. It's a light pulse just to kind of chop it up a bit. Still a little chunky, but not super chunky. I have a can of whole peeled tomatoes. You can just do chunky or pureed. This is just what I have in my pantry that needs to get used up. So I'm going to pulse these as well. Smells delish. Okay, now I am going to chop up onion for the rice and for the salsa. This salsa calls for sauteed onion, like with a little bit of a char on it. It's delicious, trust me. We'll get back to that blender later. Where's my trash bowl? Usually have a trash bag or a trash bowl on hand while I'm prepping, so I'm not turning to the trash can so often. These are white onions. You can use white or brown, doesn't matter. I'm probably gonna chop up. I need to chop up a lot of onion. I need onion for the garnish of the pozole, onion for inside of the rice, and onion sauteed for the salsa. My husband asked me what I wanted for Valentine's Day. I said all my knives sharpened. So he took them to the hardware store and had them sharpened, and they are slicey like butter. I love it. My friend's like, really? That's what you wanted for Valentine's Day? I'm like, yeah, I don't need anything else. Anything else that I really want, I just go get myself. Like, I'm not a brand whore. The things that I buy that are really brand name are my shoes that I wear daily. I wear like workout shoes, running shoes. So I really invest in those because once you hit 40, you need that orthopedic comfort, let me tell you. So I do splurge on that. I splurge on good quality ingredients to feed my family. And I splurge on quality home products that are gonna sustain the life of my home. For example, a good water heater or a good AC, things like that. I'm all about budgeting and making our money last. Let's get the pot of rice going. I'm gonna make a big one. I'm not washing my rice, okay? Don't freak out. Chill. Some people wash it, some people don't. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Today, I'm not washing it. We are just going. See how that water is boiling? That's gonna make your rice cook fast. So let's get some oil in the pot. This is gonna be my rice pot. I generally do 2 cups of rice at a time. I'm gonna see how 4 looks in here and we'll go from there. Good amount of oil. You're gonna put a lot of rice in there. So it needs to toast up with the oil. I'm using avocado. You can use vegetable. You can use canola. When I used to work for the Parks and Rec when I was like in college, there was a lady that worked there. Her name was Irma. And we worked in the heart of East LA. We worked at Hazard Park. And we'd pick up the kids from school, bring them over, and she would make them full-on meals. Like just like my grandma would growing up, like you have a full-on meal after school. So she would make them full-on meals like the taquitos, fideo, enchiladas every day. She would feed the kids every day. So that's how I learned how to cook in bulk. I remember one time at another park I worked at in East LA at Garcia Park, We had a community dinner in the summer so people could come for free dinner. I don't know what I was thinking. I made like huge batches of beans, huge batches of rice, and this was in my early 20s. So my dad was the main chef in our house. He cooked everything. When I was in second grade, it was a potluck at school, a little class party. I volunteered my dad to make enchiladas. Not chips, not junk. I wanted enchiladas. So I told him the night before, can you make me some enchiladas for my class? He's like, what? But my dad passed away when I was 15 years old. So I didn't really pick up on his cooking skills back then when I was little. But once in my 20s, I started working with Irma and she taught me so much. And then I got into watching YouTube videos. And oh my God, full circle, I'm on YouTube now. That's kind of crazy. I just realized that right now. So yeah, I learned so many recipes and cooking techniques from YouTube. That's before TikTok, before Instagram. Oh, I just realized that. It's pretty cool, right? Okay, let's get this going. 2 cups of rice. For every 2 cups of rice, we're gonna do 4 cups of liquid chicken broth, vegetable broth. 4. We're gonna go with 8. We're gonna do 8. Okay. 6, 8. We're gonna toast up the rice till it's nice and golden brown. I'm gonna add some chopped onion in there and a little bit more garlic in addition to what was in that sauce. Some cumin, some cumino. Get my big spoon out. Let's get this party started. Go girl, let that go. Let's get our onion in there. We're gonna do a whole onion. Look at how these knives just cut so beautifully. These are like the Henkel's brand. I scored them years and years ago at Costco, and they just needed a little love. Onions are gonna cook down. If you don't like onions, put them in anyway. You're not even gonna taste them. It's gonna give all that beautiful flavor. That's a half of a large onion, a construction spatula. 1/2. Get that going. We're gonna do a smaller half. So my babies don't have school today. It's Friday, but they are with their grandparents. And the grandparents have no idea that we're planning this tomorrow. I'm not going to go to the boys' games in the morning, but of course my in-laws will be there with my husband. They'll never miss a game. He's just going to tell them that I'm baking some cakes or have some cake orders. My husband will. And then everybody should arrive by noon. And I'm going to have my husband come about 12:30. So after their games, I'm going to tell them, take them to the park, burn some time. My in-laws think we're taking them to an anniversary lunch. I tell them, come on over. We're going to change the boys, then we'll take off. So hopefully they're like dressed a little nice because they think we're going to lunch. And then surprise, I have my husband doing all the errands that I usually do. So I gave him a long little Post-it list. I'm like, the force be with you. I've gotten about 6 calls so far, but he's doing great. I'm like, oh my God, you're doing great. I have him going to the Mexican market for chips for chilaquiles, cabbage for the pozole, radishes for the pozole. I have him going to Dollar Tree for tablecloths and spoons, Target pickup for bowls, Costco for ice, and pick up the chairs from our chair rental guy. Oh, and a Vaughn's pickup for beer because Vaughn's beer is on sale right now, so we got to stock up on beer. You know, Mexicans love their beer at parties. I'm going to have a margarita pitcher set up. Let's get the rices going. Let's add some more garlic in the rice. 1 big tablespoon, 2 big tablespoons. I'm going to add some cumin in there. Some cumino, usually at like 2 cups, I'll add about a teaspoon. So I'm going to do 4 teaspoons. Mixy. Okay, the rice is boiling here. I'm just going to put in the measuring cup and pour in when I'm ready. I probably need to make 2 batches of rice. So I'll probably do 16 cups of rice. It's hot. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Once you add the cumino and the garlic, it smells wonderful. Here's the rice toasting away. Now I'm going to chop up onion to saute here for the salsa while that rice is going. Let me lower it a little bit. Now I want to chop these up real small because it's going into the salsa. So you just make your slits a little closer. Watch your little fingers. It's gonna assist in those fine chops. So pan is ready to char on. It smells amazing. So yeah, like I was saying, I didn't really start cooking until my early 20s. After high school, during high school, I was a big party girl. So after I got domesticated, I really started cooking. My part-time job, Irma Ortega. I love you, Irma. I haven't talked to her in so long. I should try to get a hold of her. She was the best. She taught me so much. You know what? She had a bunch of boys too. This onion in there is a much finer chop because I put the lines I chopped closer. So now I'll just need to chop about 1 more for the pozole garnish for tomorrow. And I'll wrap that up and put it away. That'll be done. Cilantro will be done. So we're expecting about 70 people tomorrow. I hope I have enough food. I'm like stressing about that. I was thinking of maybe doing a tray of carnitas, but I think carnitas are like $16 a pound right now. There's this Italian place. They have, it's actually very good pasta, perfect for catering parties because it feeds so many people and they're very reasonable. They have a chipotle chicken pasta. So I was thinking, should I get a tray of that? Because, you know, it's Mexican chipotle, but it's a pasta just to fill. I don't know. I'm just so worried about not having enough food. This rice is almost ready. Wish I had two cameras so I could show you guys an overhead aerial shot. Let those onions go a little bit more. Need another spoon for this. You want to separate them. You want to have a char. You don't want it to get like just steamy. You want to just like cook it high and get a nice char on them because it looks pretty in the salsa. Okay, next on our list, let's chop up some green onion to throw into the salsa. I told my husband, okay, in the garage, the party box, get down the baskets for chips for each table, the box with the little salsa bowls in them. We used to entertain a lot more than we do now. Before we had kids, we'd have like parties and gatherings all the time. But, you know, once you have kids and sports, that slows down a lot. You cut them in half, layer it on top. You cut your chopping time in half. You know your knife is sharp when you don't have any shreds hanging back of green onions. How satisfying is that? Check on the rice. Okay, these are going down. Get that color. So I know it's stressful having to cook, but you know, pricing out a taquero or a taco man. I mean, everything is expensive now. I get it. Groceries are expensive, and a taco man, I think they're like $12 to $15 a person now. So I'm like, okay, it's more work for me, but it's all right. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy feeding my family and my husband's family. So you have some nice fresh onion flavor as well as the sauteed onion. We're going to use all of the whole can of jalapenos. We're going to use all the juice from 2, and then I'm going to cut off the stems and blend them to go in there. Ah, there's that char I want. Look at that. That color coming in. All right, I think rice is ready to, let's go, girl. Okay, now we're going to do 8 cups of rice, 16 cups of water, and tomato sauce. Let's get that tomato sauce in there. Get some of that water in there. Get everything out of the can. Now let's start adding our water. 2, 4, almost 6, 8, 10. 8 more cups. I need 8 more cups. This can go in here. I don't need this in the blender. 2 more cups. And I'm going to add some more tomato sauce. Now the chicken bouillon. You want your broth for your rice to taste like a good chicken soup broth, tomatoey chicken soup broth. So taste it as you go. Let's get it to a boil and then we'll cover it. Onions are done. Into the salsita. That beautiful char, that's what you want. That's exactly what you want. Let's mix it up. Look at that. Beautiful. Still need to add seasonings. I'm going to blend up the jalapenos now. I am going to blend up the rest of the brine and these carrots. That can stay in there because I don't want this to emulsify the jalapenos. So I'm going to just chop, the chili. Just chop off the stem into the blender. And that brine, the vinegary brine, adds so much flavor to the salsa. This salsa isn't even that hot once everything is blended and it sits overnight. Also, by the way, once this sits overnight, it's even better tomorrow. You can use this for ranchera sauce to make huevos rancheros. I always keep it in the fridge. It is so delicious. Just heat it up on the stove, pour it over some over easy eggs, eat it as a salsa. And then to kick it up a notch, I am defrosting a pack of hatch chilies to chop up and throw in there. You don't have to do that if you want it to be mild, but we love spice. My husband's aunt is also bringing a salsa, so we should be good on salsa for tomorrow. Okay, now just a pulse. There it is right there. If you're curious what kind of blender I have, this is a Vitamix. I've had this blender since 2010 when we bought our first home, and it has never failed me. The most high power kitchen appliance you can have. It's the best investment. They have them at Costco, or I believe I have it on my Amazon storefront link under Kitchen Essentials. It's like the most recommended kitchen appliance or kitchen investment that I could make. We are good on this, girl. Look at this. Tomorrow, all those flavors are going to meld. Okay, now I'm going to add salt. I'm going to add pepper and oregano. I'll taste it later to see the spice level. A big chunk of jalapeno, that's fine. Let's add salt, pepper, some more garlic powder. Here we go. Let's do about, how much garlic powder? 2 teaspoons, 2 tablespoons. Salt. I'll taste it tomorrow for salt once everything kind of sits. I'm not going to taste it now. And I'm fasting. Pepper. And we cannot forget the cilantro. How could I forget? And some oregano. It's a big batch. So all that oregano is going to rehydrate and lend all its flavor. Let's do cilantro. Some people have that weird taste bud where if they have cilantro, it tastes like soap. I love cilantro. I feel sorry for you if that's your situation. This is about 2 bunches of cilantro. Okay, rice is going. Oh, it's already getting thick. All right, one last mix, and then we're dropping it like low. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of cilantro in there, and I have 1 extra green onion that I'll add in there. Okay, usually about, for regular size batches, about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, but I never really time it. I just look at it, spin the lid if it looks done. I also need to chop cilantro for pozole garnish. Have you guys had pozole before? It's basically cooked down pork, so it's fork tender in a chili broth, not spicy. Salsa's done, thank God. Okay, one thing off my checklist. Next, I'm gonna start cooking all the chorizo. Okay, let's mix this up. Okay, and the thing about tomorrow is we can't set up tonight and get stuff out of the way because my kids are 5 and 7. They'll open their mouths in the morning. We're having a party. So I can't set up until they're gone in the morning for their games. So I'm summoning the help of the tias, and they're going to come early and help me set up the tables and chairs. My husband is going to have them all just arranged, leaning up against the wall, and then we will get to work in the morning once they're gone. Okay, this is done. How beautiful this is. Let me show you a little up close of this chunky goodness. I don't want to spill. You see? You see? And if you have an avocado tree or you'd like to add avocados, that just takes it up to another level. So chop up chunks of avocado, throw it in. They will not turn brown. They'll stay good in there. Delicious. This is done. Now I am going to cook the chorizo for the chorizo and papa for tomorrow. I am going to prep the potatoes, put them in water, and cook them in the morning, but the chorizo will be done because I can just mix all that together tomorrow while I'm cooking it. So this is my favorite chorizo. It's from Aldi. It's cured pork longaniza. This is my favorite chorizo. It doesn't have those like little weird fatty pieces of you don't know what the heck you're biting into. It's just nice and meaty and beautiful. So I'm going to do 4 of these in a high-sided pot. This pot, I like to cook chorizo because it splatters a lot, and this kind of contains a lot of the splatter. That's next. Let me get these ready. Let's get this chorizo cooked. Aldi chorizo. So my plan with this is to get this all fried up right now, let it cool, put it in the fridge, and then tomorrow I'll finish it off with the potatoes. Because if you cook potatoes ahead of time, no good. I'm just trying to eliminate little steps for tomorrow. Like I said, the key to hosting is getting as much done the day before as you can. And I changed cutting boards because this is pork, and I'm going to cut up the pork meat for the pozole, and I don't like to mix cutting boards when I'm cutting like veggies and stuff. The rice is going, cooking its little heart out. And this chorizo is a little firmer than the other chorizos that you find at the market. It's a longaniza, and it's not as like wobbly when you take it out of the casing. It's pretty firm. But I like that because it has like a good meaty texture. It's not just like all mush and you're cooking up like, what is that? What is that little tube in there? Not like that. Okay, vámonos. This is what you do. You get a sharp knife, go down the side, open up the casing. This is the easiest way. Open up each casing, and then you're just gonna let it flop out of the casing into the pan. You don't really need to add a lot of oil. I added oil because it's going to lend to the cooking of the potatoes tomorrow, but you don't need to add much oil because this contains a good amount of fat. Kind of like a fatty ground beef where you don't add much oil to the pan. Same thing. So let's put it in here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, take it out of its natural casing like so. Then you're just going to mash it up and cook it down. Ever had chorizo? You need to. And once it's cooked down, you can mix some eggs in there, some potatoes, just like that, and melt some cheese over for queso fundido. Very versatile, and it packs so much flavor. And I like this because you're taking off the casing and it's not like a bunch of grease everywhere or it's not falling all over the place. Like, I've never tried barbecuing this piece whole, but I want to say you can. I have chorizo tacos. So tomorrow I will parboil the potatoes and then fry them up with the chorizo and some onions and garlic. Here we go, into the pan. Look at all that chorizo. Ready to go. Where is my masher? Oh, here it is. This is a must for ground beef and chorizo and any type of cubed or ground meat. This is also in my Amazon storefront under Kitchen Essentials. Okay, just gonna let it cook and break it up. Break it up. This is gonna need to go on for sure. That cook. I'll be back. I gotta alert Vons that my husband's on his way for the pickup. Here's the chorizo cooking away. It's almost done and ready for potatoes tomorrow morning. Cook it real good. It cannot overcook. So just get all those little chewy pieces out, if any, and cook it well. Chorizo is done. This away. Chorizo is done. Let's get it in the bowl. So many spices and flavors are in there. Chili powders, garlic, a little bit of vinegar. Okay, that's just gonna chill and wait to be added to the potatoes for tomorrow. Let's check the rice. So this is such a huge pot of rice. I think I'm gonna need to like mix it around and then cover it again. See how it looks. I always use a fork to fluff it, but I'm gonna need something big to turn it. Let's see how it's going. Let's get this little green onion out of there. Now I'm gonna mix, okay? This still needs some time as it's such a big pot. We're gonna use this. See, the bottom is done. So all that moisture on top needs to get to the bottom. So we're gonna help it along. Just get all that moisture from the top down into the middle. Smells amazing. Okay, and then we're gonna close it up. The rice is already pretty much cooked. I don't see any hard pieces in there, so I'm just gonna turn it around, close it up, and leave it closed for about a half hour. Fluff it, fluff, 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 fluff. Cover. Here is the rice. It's been sitting for about 30 minutes. It should be done. Oh yeah, look at that. Now I'm just gonna let it cool and it'll be all ready for tomorrow. Look at that. Beautiful, nice, fluffy rice. Still fasting or I would taste it. Okay, rice is done, salsa is done, chorizo is done, and now I'm gonna start on the pozole. Husband just pulled up from running errands, picking up a bunch of stuff, chairs, ice, a lot of stuff, beer. So now I am going to cut into the pork roast. Picnic butt roast, pork picnic butt roast. I'm gonna cut off all this fat, and then I'm going to get the bone out of there and cook that bone for a long time. So all that flavor gets into the broth. See, we don't need all this fat right here. I'm gonna cut it into small pieces because it's for a big party and it needs to go far. You could cook that down and make yourself your own pork fat, your lard, but nobody got time for that right now. So now I'm just gonna cut slices and small pieces for that marbling. It's gonna be nice and tender. Let's get a bowl. I'll put all the cooked meat in, all the chopped up meat in here. I'm doing small pieces, like I said, because I don't want to put big chunks of meat in there, and it's a party for everybody. So I don't want everybody to take the big chunks of meat. I'm gonna do small pieces. I'm debating browning the meat. When I did my tamales this year, I seared all the meat before I boiled it, and the flavor was incredible. So I just might do that. Let's see what my brain has room for today. A lot of fat. I feel like I might need more meat. We'll see. Phase 2 for the day. Salsa is done. Chorizo is done. Rice is done. All the meat is chopped up, and along with a whole onion and 2 garlic cloves with the top chopped off. This is going to go in tomorrow morning to boil. Now, I'm going to start on the red chili sauce for the pozole. I have this many California chili pods, this many guajillo. I'd say maybe 10 guajillo, 20 California, and 2 ancho. Ancho chili pods are pasilla chilies that are dried out. So now I'm just going to get my bag and I cut off the top and just try to get a good amount of seeds out because sometimes the seeds can be bitter. And then I'm going to put them in here, pack them down, and usually I would blend them with the pork broth, but I don't have that ready yet. So I'm just going to put some hot water in there and let it all reconstitute and pulverize in this high-speed Vitamix. You have to have a high-power blender in order to really blend down all the seeds, or else you're going to have to put everything through a strainer. One of the many perks of a high power blender. Blendtec, Vitamix, they're all good. Those are good. So I just cut off that, the top, and then the side, and repeat. You could, to make it faster, just do all of these at once. Keep the scissors in your hand. This is the same concept or the same process to make chile colorado or also red enchilada sauce. Same thing with the dried chilies. I'm gonna get some water on the stove and boil it to pour in here. Okay, chilies are seeded and stripped of everything. I'm gonna stuff them in here and pour some boiling water over the chilies, and they'll sit in here for about 10 minutes. Okay, so they're fully submerged. Make sure they're all fully submerged because this hot water is gonna rehydrate them and make them nice and meaty, and then we're gonna blend. So I'm gonna probably put something on top of them and just a little bit. 10 minutes, okay? Now I have radishes, tops and bottoms, snipped off, and I'm gonna use my mandolin and my guard because I have chopped off a tip of my finger without using the guard. So I'm just going to, this is the garnish for the pozole. You want them nice and thin, and then I'm gonna leave them in water overnight. So see how many you could fit here. Make them a little thinner. Make sure those teeth get in there. This is a good size. I'll probably end up cutting them in half. Okay, radishes I did on the mandolin. They are done. Now I'm gonna keep them in water in the refrigerator overnight. And this is a garnish that you sprinkle on top of your pozole after you serve yourself. Pretty they are. Yummy. Okay, these are done. Now what do I have to do next? Should I shred up the the cabbage right now? I think I am. This thing is huge. Okay, I'm gonna take off the outer layers. One more. And now I am going to finely shred it. Cut it in half. Jeez, here we go. And this is a method I've never tried, using a vegetable peeler. A lot of people do this. I just use a knife. Let's see. That works. Kind of messy, but it does leave it really fine. I just wish it was wider. Hello. Let's make this super fine. Let's see. Same thing. Yay. I had something else. Careful not to get too close. Perfect. I'm also going to submerge this in water and keep it in the fridge overnight. Let me get a bowl. This works. This will be perfect. Ready? Here we go. You make coleslaw like this. All I need is a $10 mandolin, which is also in my Amazon shop. Get paranoid with my fingers. Perfect. Okay. Okay, chilies have been hydrating in hot boiling water for about 10 minutes. They're super soft. Now I am going to blend them, and this will be ready to throw into the pozole tomorrow. Let's bring our blender over. I don't know where my top is, so I'll use a piece of cabbage. It's gonna be hot. You're gonna let it go for about a minute, high speed. Let's see how it's looking. Okay, and this is just perfect for that. So tomorrow, after I boil all the pork and it's pretty much almost done, I'm gonna throw this in and flavor that broth even more. It's perfect. You can use this for enchiladas, fry it up in some lard. My dog just opened my door.